Committee meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Our full committee is here.
7:30.
Did I say 7 o'clock? 7:30. Sorry, guys. Thank God I got you two on my sides. Anyways, tonight we have order number 26-1009728. Communication from the mayor, re appointment of Dr. Sandeep Jubal to the Board of Health for a 3-year term to expire February 5th, 2029. I'll read the letter from the mayor. Honorable President Osling and councilors, it's for the appointment of Dr. Sandeep Jubal to the Board of Health. I am pleased to submit for your approval the appointment of Dr. Jubal to the Board of Health, which will expire February 5th, 2029, the first Monday in February, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 111, Section 26. Dr. Jubal is not a resident of Marlborough, but works for UMass Memorial Medical Center. This relationship further connects the medical center to the community it serves. I am thankful to Dr. Jubal for sharing the personal connection with the city in the letter attached. The Board of Health will now have 2 doctors and a veterinarian that serve on the board. This level of education and connection to the medical field will help ensure policies and procedures that better serve our community. I personally want to thank Mr. Griffin, that's Jim Griffin, who has been on the Board of Health since 2013 and is retiring from the board. His value, dedication, and insight as a chair went above and beyond, navigating through COVID pandemic and still wanting to serve after is commendable. I cannot thank Mr. Griffin enough for spearheading the board through many challenges over the year. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Sincerely, Mayor Christian Dumas. With that said, I would like to call up Dr. Jubal, if you would like, to the center.
Yes.
And his letter, if you haven't read it, it's phenomenal, and we'll go over that, any questions, but I'll ask, just feel free to have a seat right there. Is the green, Dr. Jubal, is the green light on the microphone? Okay, as long as it's on. Yeah, just say hello. They'll run out. There you go.
Hello. Yes.
Beautiful.
Cool.
So our Personnel Committee is set up with 3 counselors. Councilor Doucette to my right, Councilor Navin to my left.
Hi.
And usually I ask them first if they have any questions.
Yes.
And again, thank you for your letter. I can read it out loud, but if the members have read it, I will let the members, I'm getting a nod, so I'll let them ask any questions. Councilor Doucette, do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. So just for point of discussion, can you summarize your background and why you decided to become a member of the board?
Great. Well, I have more than a few reasons. So, just to give my introduction, I am a physician. I've been a physician for almost 26 years now. I graduated from India, so I'm an immigrant here on a green card. And it's just like an exposure just to kind of see how things work here in America. And that was just curiosity. And I'm also a part of Board of Registration in Medicine. I work for the state of Massachusetts, overseeing physician licenses in the state. So I have that experience, and I've got connection with Marlborough. I used to live here. This was my first town in Massachusetts where I resided. And especially this building has got very fond memories. My son, my younger one, was registered, so my birth registration happened in this building. So that way, and then I share a lot of patients in the city, Marlborough. Especially, I've got a lot of patients with tuberculosis, and my time Marlborough. I came here around 2020, and the past 6 years, I've seen how the city has evolved. It's become larger, more dense. So I think it's more need to kind of have a good public health leadership in the city, and not in just city. The way kind of we have moved through COVID pandemic, and we have always hear about these outbreaks, about hantavirus now, about Ebola virus cooking in Congo. So I think I've given, as an infectious disease doctor, I do have that expertise, and yeah.
Infectious disease, I believe I read.
Yes, I am an infectious disease doctor at UMass.
Great.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank you for being willing to serve. I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to walk through both your resume, your experience, and why you feel that Marlborough is a place that you'd like to do some additional service, even though you're no longer a resident. We really appreciate that. So, with that, I have no questions. So, if you would like to,
A
do you want a
motion can
motion?
be made, and then
All right,
I'll
we'll-
ask for any further questions from the other councilors in the chambers.
Wonderful.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Yeah, we'll move to approve.
Also move that. With that said, any further discussion? We have Councilor Irish and Councilor Fuccello here, and if you two would like to ask questions, feel free. So you're both all set? Okay. Well, and again, I guess I'll end it with, I am impressed with your resume, your letter of reference, and I'm glad to hear you were part of Marlborough. We'll get you back. Maybe we can get you back here. But, no, and in fact, you are here. You're here at Marlborough, well, I call it Marlborough Hospital still, but you're in our
Right.
local hospital.
Yeah.
And as I noted to you before the meeting, I've been involved with public health for many years. I don't want to say out loud how many years, but might show my age, but it's a very important field. In my view, it's the most important field we deal with. I'll never forget Mr. Griffin. We had a hearing during COVID. There was two sides to the coin. People didn't want to follow process to save people from dying, and other people wanted to follow the process. And I was up there at that meeting with the Board of Health requesting that they take the needed measures, and sometimes that's not easy as a board member, because you're basically making a decision that could affect, one way or the other, people's lives. But with that said, I'm in support of it, so a motion was made to approve you, and seconded. All in favor? The vote is 3-0. One other point of business, committee members, I would like to see if, it was on my end that we didn't get him in our last meeting, but I'd like to ask for a suspension so we can remove this from our committee and have it voted on tonight. Are we okay with that? for a
Yes,
suspension?
absolutely.
So we'll ask for a suspension, so hopefully tonight you'll be appointed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jubal.
Appreciate it.
With that said,
Motion to adjourn?
motion has been made to adjourn and seconded at 7:37. I'll get the time right this time. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'll call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday evening, May 18th, 2026. This meeting is being recorded. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have 15 items on this evening's agenda, and I will ask the city clerk to please read agenda item number 1.
Minutes City Council meeting April 27, 2026, and May 4th, 2026.
Councilor Vital.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to accept and place on file the minutes.
Motion's made and seconded to accept and place on file both sets of minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are filed and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 2.
Now's the time. Continued public hearing on the petition of Mass Electric and Verizon to install one joint-owned pole on Farm Road beginning at a point approximately 540 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Cook Lane, National Grid, to install a 50-foot Class H1 midspan pole between P28 and P29 on Farm Road. Pole will be located on city property. The new pole will be labeled P28-50, order number 26-100-9731A. Additionally, we have a communication from City Engineer Tom DePercio regarding recommended conditions.
Okay, this public hearing will be taken up in 4 stages. First, with the public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And finally, questions from the City Council. We'll limit public participation comments to 3 minutes. We'll open the first part of the public hearing of the public speaking in favor with the applicant coming up to describe the project.
My name is John Rupier. Address is 255.
Is the microphone on, John? Thanks, John.
My name is John Rupier. I'm from 255 South Main Street in Hopedale. I have my colleague here to represent.
I'm Carrie Lee, also from 245 South Main Street in Hopedale.
Nolan Angus, also from Hopedale.
Thanks, Nolan. Carrie? Okay, you want to describe the project?
Yes, so the first one is
Put the mic
for...
close to your...
Oh, sorry, I'm really short, I know. The first one is for an install of a midspan pole. The reason we're requesting that is so that we can install a pole top recloser on that pole.
Okay.
The poles on either side already have equipment, so there's not enough space.
Anything else, Carrie Lee? Is that good?
No, I think that's good.
Any other members of the public speak in favor? Any members of the public speak in favor? Any members of the public speak in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Any members of the public speak in opposition? Members of the public speak in opposition. Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Preciado.
I just wanted some clarification. Thank you for being here. So the current poles are overloaded right now with equipment, and so you're just installing another pole to add more equipment? Is that like a
Yes, so we need
standard?
to install a pole top recloser.
Okay.
So there's certain clearances that we need to cover, and there's already equipment on either side.
Okay.
So installing the midspan pole will we'll be able to put the pole top recloser up.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Preciado. Any other questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Ficillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilors will note the city engineer had a chance to review and has recommended conditions for the petition, and with that, I move to approve with those conditions submitted by the city engineer.
Motion made and seconded to approve the petition with the conditions identified by the city engineer. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 10-0. The petition is approved with the conditions identified by the city engineer. Agenda item number 3.
Now is time for continued public hearing on the petition of Mass Electric and Verizon to install one joint old pole on Hudson Street beginning at a point approximately 236 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Bolton Street and Hudson Street, and continuing approximately 22 feet in a northwest direction. National Grid to install a 45-foot pole, Class H1 midspan on Hudson Street. The new pole will be labeled P42-50, order number 26-100-9733A. Additionally, we have a communication from City Engineer Tom DePercio regarding recommended conditions.
Okay, this public hearing again will be taken up in the same 4 stages. Members, public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and then questions from the city councilors. So again, we'll limit comments from the public to 3 minutes. We'll open the first part of the public hearing with the public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant. Please state your name and address again for the record.
Nolan Angus from Hopedale.
Thanks, Nolan.
Again, this is a very similar case. This is a new midspan pole, a pure midspan pole in the sense, just for the sole purpose of installing a pole topper closer.
You good? Okay, any other members of the public speak in favor? Members of the public speak in favor? Any members of the public speak in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. And members of the public speak in opposition? Members of the public speak in opposition. Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just for clarification, what specifically is a pole topper closer? Is it a transformer or what is it?
No, so it is a form of advanced switch that helps improve reliability of the feeders in the area. So it helps decrease the chance of outages in the area and increase response time in case of an outage.
Is it like a circuit breaker type response?
Very similarly, yes.
Okay, so it's a box, basically?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Any other questions? Councilor Oram.
Wargrove, thank you. Thank you for coming in force. We missed you the last couple meetings. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Preciado.
It's a hot topic. I do have some questions regarding like future installments. Is this something that we would be seeing for future service on different poles, like adding midspan poles to introduce more equipment?
From my understanding, no. If the existing area allows for these new installations to go up without the need of a midspan pole, we will do everything in our power to. We are limited to the certain orders of equipment that we need, which is what calls for the need for midspan poles specifically.
Thank you. I was just curious if we would see more of these like around the city. But thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Preciado. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Any questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Pacillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we see again, comments and conditions from the city engineer, and with that, move to approve with the conditions submitted by the city engineer.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the petition with the conditions identified by the city engineer. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The petition is approved with the conditions identified by the city engineer, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 4.
Now is time for public hearing on petition of Mass Electric and Verizon to install one joint-owned pole on Glen Street beginning at the point approximately 130 feet northeast of the center line of the intersection of Foley Road. National Grid to install a 50-foot Class H1 midspan pole between P4 and P5 on Glen Street. Pole will be located on city property. The new pole will be labeled P4-50, order number 26-100-9746. Additionally, we have a communication from City Engineer Tom DePercio regarding recommended conditions.
Okay, again, this public hearing will be taken up in the same 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and then questions from the city council. So I'll open the first part of the public hearing with the public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant, and again, comments will be limited to 3 minutes on the public. Carrie Lee. Name and address, please.
Name and address. Carrie Lee. It's 245 South Main Street, Hopedale.
Thank you.
Yes. This is also to install, I know we sound like a broken record, mid-span pole, also for a pole top recloser.
Anything else? That's good. All right, any other members of the public speaking in favor? Members of the public speaking in favor? Members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is now my turn to sound like a broken record. Move to approve the petition with the conditions from the city engineer.
Motion made and seconded to approve the petition with the conditions identified by the city engineer. Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The petition is approved with the conditions identified by the city engineer, and the vote is 10-0. John, Carrie Lee, and Nolan, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Agenda item number 5.
Now it's time for public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2027 operating budget in the amount of $222,882,585, which represents a 4.24% increase over the fiscal year 2026 appropriation, order number 26-19740.
Okay, this public hearing will be taken up in the same 4 stages. First, for the public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And then finally, questions from the city council. And we'll open it up with the public speaking in favor. And again, we'll limit comments to 3 minutes. Any members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? If you come on over, that'd be great. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Council President, and members of the City Council. My name is Matthew Armour, and I live at 52 Chandler Street. I'm a lifelong resident of the city, and I've been employed by the city of Marlborough my entire adult life. Currently, I proudly serve as a firefighter, and I have the honor of being the union president for the men and women who make up your Marlborough Fire Department. I'm here tonight on behalf of those men and women to address an issue that's been raised consistently for more than a decade: firefighter staffing levels. The reality is simple. Marlborough has changed dramatically, but our staffing is not. Last year, our department responded to approximately 9,225 calls for service, nearly a 50% increase in call volume since 2014, while still operating at the same staffing levels that we've had since the 90s. Just a minimum of 14 firefighters on duty citywide. This year, we have already seen a 5% increase over where we were last year at this time. Excuse me. We have no signs of slowing down. At the same time, Marlborough continues to experience unprecedented growth and development. Nearly 2,000 additional housing units have been brought into the queue and are currently under construction or being approved. Every one of these developments will bring additional residents, additional traffic, additional emergencies, and an increased demand for fire and EMS. For over 10 years, we have respectfully raised these concerns through the budget process. We have proposed solutions, including incremental staffing increases, long-term planning surrounding the future West Side Fire Station, and yet despite these efforts, there has been little to no meaningful support or action taken to address this growing problem. Tonight, I'm simply asking the question to city leadership: when exactly do you believe is an appropriate time to seriously address the staffing at the Marlborough Fire Department? The need is not hypothetical. It's not years away, it's here. It's been here for more than a decade. At some point, the city has to acknowledge the unavoidable reality that maintaining public safety in a growing community requires investment, That investment may come with difficult conversations, including discussions about taxes and funding priorities. But delaying these conversations does not make the problem disappear. It only increases the risk to both firefighters and the residents that we serve. We're proud to protect this city. We're proud of the work we do every day. But pride alone does not put enough firefighters on the streets to safely and effectively serve a growing Marlboro. We're asking for leadership. We're asking for accountability. We're asking for a commitment to planning for the future before the future forces this issue upon us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Matt. Well said. Any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition. Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city council? Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the fire department budget, and Chief Gogan had noted in his correspondence on the budget that they are hoping, based on these figures, the department's ability to maintain its current minimum staffing model will require reevaluation effective July 2026. So hopefully we'll be seeing communications from the fire chief as it relates to the staffing levels. You'll see in that same letter he talks about the 16 versus 14. At certain times, the squad car, I believe in the Easton station, is not available due to the minimum 14 versus the minimum 16. So hopefully there will be dialogue with the chief, the finance committee, and we can move forward to try to prevent overtime, but more importantly, support and prevent any accidents with the fire department. We don't want to stress out the great firefighters and staff we have. In my view, let's take a thorough look at this and move forward so we can have the appropriate staffing. And on another note, our residents deserve it. I am not for sure if, and I'd have to look into it, but will their insurance go up if we're not properly staffed? So those are the things I'd like to discuss in finance. Hopefully the chief will have dialogue and firefighters will have dialogue with us before the budget season to see what we can do to improve the budget. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Any questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from the mayor regarding year-end transfer requests in the amount of $539,000, which move funds from and to various accounts for the Department of Public Works, Comptroller, Treasurer, City Clerk, and Legal Department, in addition to transfer requests totaling $3,192,000 from free cash to open space stabilization and snow and ice.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. This item is going to Finance, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from the mayor regarding reauthorization of revolving fund spending limits for the Water and Sewer Revolving Fund, Parks and Recreation Revolving, Council on Aging Revolving Fund, and Public Safety Revolving Fund for FY 2027.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Seeing that these revolving funds are the same amount as the previous year, my motion is to approve the revolving fund spending cap for fiscal year 2027 for the 4 revolving funds listed, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the 4 revolving funds for fiscal year 2027. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? All 4 revolving funds are approved, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 8.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding favorable recommendation and comments on the proposed zoning amendment to Chapter 650 zoning to amend Section 33 Results Way Mixed Use Overlay District, Order Number 26-100-9683A.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Communication is filed and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 9.
Communication from Attorney Aldo A. Cipriano on behalf of Mark E. Evangelist regarding request release of a low-income deed restriction on the unit at 64 Village Drive, Unit 4.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to refer this to Urban Affairs.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Urban Affairs Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. This is going to Urban Affairs, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 10.
Petition to Mass Electric and Verizon to install one joint-owned pole on Concord Road beginning at a point approximately 370 feet northwest of the center line of the intersection of McNeil Circle. National Grid to install a 45-foot Class 2 mid-span pole between P74 and P75 on Concord Road. Pole will be located on city property. The new pole will be labeled P74-50.
Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to set a date for a public hearing on June 8th and to refer to the city engineer.
Motion made and seconded to refer this to the city engineer, and we'll set a public hearing for June 8th. Motion's made and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. This was going to the city engineer with a public hearing of June 8th. Votes 10-0. Agenda item 11.
Petition of Mass Electric and Verizon to install one joint-owned pole on Hosmer Street beginning at a point approximately 190 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Briarwood Lane and Hosmer Street and continuing approximately 20 feet in a east direction. National Grid to install a 45-foot H1 mid-span pole to be labeled P8-50 on Hosmer Street.
Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to set a date for a public hearing on June 8th and to refer to the city engineer.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the city engineer, and we'll set a public hearing date of June 8th. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We're going to send this to the city engineer with a public hearing date of June 8th, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 12.
Application for a taxi delivery license from Nariand Gerard, DBA Nariand Private Transportation, LLC, 88 Essex Street.
Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Seeing that this is a new application, move to refer to the Public Services Committee.
Motion made and seconded to refer this to the Public Services Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to Public Service, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 13.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Mr. President?
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees.
Motion's made and seconded to accept and place on file all the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The minutes are going to be filed, and the vote is 10-0. Agenda item 14.
Claims.
Mr. President?
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to send the claims to the legal department.
Motion's made and seconded to send the claims to the legal department. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Claims are going to legal, and the vote is 10-0. Reports of committees. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met on May 11th, 2026. The meeting convened at 6:30 p.m. We had one item on the agenda that evening, order number 26-100-9740, proposed fiscal year 2027 operating budget from Mayor Dumas in the amount of $222,882,585. Chair Irish read the April 30th, 2026 letter from the mayor, submitting the budget for review and approval in the amount of $222,882,585, representing a 4.241% increase from fiscal year 26. The significant increase is primarily due to increased funding for the Marlborough Public Schools, health insurance, Aspet Valley Regional School, and the city health insurance. The mayor indicated the projected tax impact of this budget would increase the taxes on the average single-family house by $420. The Finance Committee reviewed each department budget with the mayor and several department heads and proposed adjusting the mayor's budget by $510,000. On a motion by Council Orm, seconded by Chair Irish, the Finance Committee voted 5-0 to reduce the FY 2027 budget by $510,000 as listed in the below table, resulting in an amended fiscal year 2027 municipal operating budget in the amount of $222,372,585. This represents an increase of $8,550,744, or a 4.0% increase. These adjustments are anticipated to reduce the mayor's projected increase to the average single-family house tax bill by approximately $28. The meeting adjourned at 9:30 p.m., Mr. President. That's the end of my report, and I will be asking for a suspension this evening, if it is okay with the City Council.
Motion made and seconded to suspend the rules. All those in favor of suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries. The vote is 10-0. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve the FY 2027 municipal operating budget as amended in the amount of $222,372,585, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the Finance Committee's recommendation of the budget, which is a $222,372,585 budget. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The budget is approved as amended by the Finance Committee, and the vote is 10-0. Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. Personnel met 2 different nights. We met on May 11th, 2026, to review order number 05-04-2026, order number 26-1009744. The appointment of Tiona Brown to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term to expire on April 30th, 2029. On a motion made by Councilor Navin, seconded by Chair Oram, the committee recommends approval of the appointment of Tiona C. Brown to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term to expire on April 30th, 2029. The vote was 3-0, and we adjourned at 6:20 p.m. that evening. We also met tonight, and just so the council knows and the president already knows, I'll be asking for suspensions on both these appointments. Tonight we met at 7:30 to review order number 26-1009728, the appointment of Dr. Sandeep Jubal to the Board of Health for a 3-year term to expire on February 5th, 2029. On a motion made by Councilor Doucette, seconded by Chair Oram, the committee recommends approval of the appointment of Dr. Sandeep Jubal to the Board of Health for a 3-year term to expire on February 5th, 2029. The vote was 3-0. And tonight we adjourned the Personnel Committee at 7:37 p.m. And Mr. President, I'll be asking for suspensions on both so we can get these people working on these committees as quick as possible, if the council so wishes.
Been a motion made and seconded to suspend the rules for both reports. Any discussion? Or there's no discussion. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries for both of them, and the vote is 10-0. Councilor Oram.
I would recommend the appointment of Tiona Brown as recommended by the Personnel Committee on May 11th to the Conservation Commission.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Tiona Brown to the Conservation Commission. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Not Councilor Brown anymore. Tiona Brown is approved to the Conservation Commission, and the vote is 10-0. Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that the council consider Dr. Sandeep Jubal, as noted in the report, to be appointed to the Board of Health through February 5th, 2029 for the Board of Health.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Dr. Jubal to the Board of Health. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Dr. Jubal is appointed to the Board of Health, and the vote is 10-0. Any other reports of committees? Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to announce that Urban Affairs is going to meet on May 27th. We're going to take up the Results Way Mixed-Use Overlay District, and if they are amenable, we can add on to it the request from Mr. Evangelos to deal with the deed, if it works for them.
Any other reports of committees?
What's that?
Everybody good? Okay, moving on, agenda item number 15.
Ordered that the City Council discuss the Starter Home Zoning Districts Act enacted in 2023 to see if there's something we want to adopt and further discuss if we want to use MEDC grant funds to bring in MAPC to help with zoning. Chapter 40Y is an optional program that creates starter home zoning to help reduce barriers for creating smaller, more affordable starter homes for someone buying their first home, downsizing, and for smaller households. Although adopted in 2023, the regulations were finalized in March of 2026 under 760 CMR submitted by Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. So as I said, this was approved several years ago, but the regulations took a while to come out. I heard about this at a meeting of MMA on a committee that I'm on, and it sounded interesting. I didn't want to bother actually submitting zoning change. I thought that it would be better off with us having a discussion to see if Marlboro is a fit. This is it's not mandated to adopt this. This is all by choice, and there is a lot of information to consider, and I thought having a conversation first, if we wanted to consider it, and then requesting funds from MEDC to be able to work with the planner, either MAPC or another planner that could work on the language. It is specifically starter homes. It is specific for the amount of land that you can have in a city that you can regulate as starter homes. The number of homes you could put on an acre is specified. One of the things that I thought was interesting is that for the proposed development of more than 12 starter homes, not less than 10% of them shall be, and this is a little bit different language than what we have, they shall be affordable to and occupied by families whose annual income is less than 110% of the area median income. So I looked up what that was, and for a single person it's $114,350, which to me is still not what we think of when we're talking about affordable for people, but this is talking about buying a house. So it's not renting an apartment, it's a home. Can it work? Maybe, but I would like to start the conversation, and I would move that we refer this to Urban Affairs to start that conversation.
Motion made and second to send this item to Urban Affairs. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is intriguing. The neighborhood that I live in is pretty much started as a bunch of starter homes back in the day, a little creative zoning and construction to get that done. My question is, like, are we talking about just in general, right? Are we talking about new property development? Are we talking about redoing existing buildings to be more housing? I mean, those are the type of questions. We're running out of property to put homes. That's, part of this conversation, so I'm not sure how the zoning could be. But I think that might be worth looking into to see where it makes sense to do this type of development. So, sure.
If I can respond, it is developable, I can't even say it, land that can be developed. So it is not something existing that we're saying now all of a sudden is affordable. So I would argue that there is land. We've had tons of proposals for apartments. Could that land instead be part of the zoning that would allow homes? That's what we're hearing from the public. They want homes, not apartments. So the conversation can delve into that.
Councilor Orem.
Thank you, Mr. President. I concur with Councilor Doucette, and thank Councilor Roby for her insight in bringing this to the council. The part that I really feel is important is buying their first home, downsizing. That could be elderly, downsizing into a smaller home, which will make their home available to someone else. So I see that as a benefit. And the question I had was, with the new regulations and new legislation in Massachusetts, accessory dwelling units are also being considered, where you can put a 900 square foot or less dwelling unit on your property and not have to meet certain zoning criteria. Is that encompassing that discussion as well, Council, if I may, to Council Roby?
My understanding is there's language that you can add ADUs onto the property.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Council Orm. Council Doucette.
Thank you very much. I just want to also say, like, there are homes, houses, apartments, townhouses, garden-style units. So as long as all options are on the table, I think this is good. The small houses suddenly become McMansions, if considering the market as it is. But, condos and townhouses and garden-style definitely keeps the market price lower. So, thank you.
Thank you, Council Doucette. Any other councilors? On the motion to refer this item to Urban Affairs, all those in favor? Opposed? This item's going to Urban Affairs, and the vote is 10-0. Council Ficillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adjourn.
Motion's made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:36. Have a good evening, everyone.